Okay, so in the previous part of the tutorial, we modeled this piece of the smokestack here. And as you'll probably notice, the aspect of the video has changed from the last part. That's just because I upgraded to a new monitor finally, so it's 16:9 now rather than the crappy 4:3 that I was using. Okay, so let's just maybe continue on with the pipes here, the rest of the pipes that go into this exhaust here. Alright, so let's go maybe into the left view. Let's grab this and let's do Control I to invert the selection, and we'll just right click and hide select it. Okay, so we'll build out the rest of the pipe up here, and this is actually a really simple piece to make. We'll just use the spline to do it. Alright, so let's zoom in. Actually, let's maybe leave it back like that so we can see the whole height of the pipe. And let's go into the gray panel into shapes, grab a line, and this will be a little bit hard to see here, so I'm just going to start up at the top and just come straight down to the corner here and straight down at the bottom. And if you hold shift on the keyboard, it'll snap the line straight for you. Okay, so we'll click about there, bring it down a little bit more, and click again, and then right click to end. Okay, like that. And to make this a little bit easier to see, let's actually just turn on renderable in the viewport here by checking these two checkboxes. Okay, we'll take the thickness up. Let's do about 50 for now. We can adjust it later if we need to. Okay, let's also put our blue shader on that. And we'll just go into vertex and just adjust some of the verts here. Alright, let's grab this one in the center, and we'll just adjust the angle until it matches up a little bit better with the blueprints there. Okay, and down here at the bottom, we actually need to bend the pipe in towards the truck. Okay, so let's maybe go into the back view here. Just gonna get out of vertex for a second. We'll just move this over to the right and line it up with the blueprint. Okay, and let's also increase the thickness a little bit more now. Let's try about 58, and we'll see how that looks in the left view as well. Alright, so that's pretty close to the thickness we need. And so back in the back view here, let's drop down to vertex, and we'll just grab this bottom vert and just pull this over. Okay, I'm going to push it pretty far into the truck here, around there maybe. Okay, you can kind of see where the elbow is on the blueprints there. Okay, let's leave it like that for now. Let's go back into the left view here, and we'll just curve this vert over by using fillet. Alright, so go way down in the modify panel here until you get to fillet, click that, and we'll just click and hold down the mouse button on this vert here and drag up. Okay, we'll do it, say about there, and we'll do a similar thing here at the bottom. Okay, so let's grab this vert and we'll just go up on this. Okay, just make sure you go enough that the verts aren't, or the edges aren't crossing on the inside there, over here. You want to have those spaced out a little bit. Okay, we'll probably need to pull that down a little bit farther later on. Okay, so that's pretty much the shape we're looking for. Let's convert it to editable poly. Get out of vertex first. Alright, convert to editable poly. Let's go into polygon, and we'll grab these end polys here. Okay, deselect these ones so we just have the cap there, and let's delete that out. Now that's going to be inside a truck, you'll never see it. Okay, and for this top one here, let's grab that. Just going to go back into the back view here and switch this to the front view. And with that polygon selected there, I'm just going to do an inset, and we'll take this up a bit. Let's do maybe 7, and okay. And we'll just extrude it in. So let's open up extrude here, and we'll just take it down to a negative amount. And it doesn't have to go all the way down, we'll just take it in a bit. Let's do like negative 190 or so. And okay, and we can delete that polygon now. Alright, and chances are you're never going to actually see in there. So that should be fine. Okay, and let's also maybe go back to the left view here. Let's select these polygons here. Let's go deselect these ones and these ones. So we have the corner ones that are selected. And let's go over to detach, and we'll uncheck detach as clone. Alright, so this will make it a separate object. Hit OK to that. Okay, that'll break those off. And we'll do the same thing down here at the bottom. Go back into polygon, grab these polys here, and just deselect these ones and the side ones. Okay, we'll detach that as well. Okay, I'm just going to grab a couple of these pieces here. And I noticed a little bit of lag in the video playback when the blueprints are in the viewport here. So I'll try to have those hidden as much as possible. Okay, so let's hide and select it. And we'll just continue working on the pipe here. Alright, so let's grab that corner piece there. And we'll just put a shell on it to give it a little bit more thickness. Let's take it up a bit. And we don't want this to be super thick. Let's do maybe about 3 on the outer amount. Okay, I think that should be fine. Let's also right click on the shell here. We'll just copy the modifier. And we'll go down and do the same thing on the bottom one. Alright, so select that and then just paste the modifier in there. Okay. And we will need to turbo smooth this piece just so it's nice and smooth. Alright, so on the left view here, let's just convert this to double poly. So we go to wireframe F3, and we need to add a support edge at the top and the bottom here, so let's do it with quick slice. Alright, so we'll grab that and we'll just cut one in here. And you can do a connect on it if you want. This is a little bit faster. Okay, so one at the top there, one at the bottom, and try to get them as even as possible. Alright, and then we'll just do maybe a ring here on the top edges. Let's also do the bottom at the same time. Alright, so ring those 2 edges, do a connect. We'll do 2 segments. And we'll just pinch that out a little bit more. Let's do about 40 or so on the pinch. And okay. And because we have no inner polygons, or we won't in a minute, let's just select this inside edge here as well as the inside one at the top. We'll do a loop on those, and we can control backspace those out. We don't really need to have those support edges there. Okay, so let's hit Alt Q. Alright, and we can also delete the inside here. We don't really need that. So let's go over to polygon. Gonna check on by angle here and set it to 45 degrees, and that should let you just click and select the whole inside. Alright, so just ensure that only the inside ones are selected. And let's hit delete. Alright, get out of the polygon there. We can exit isolation mode, and we'll just put a turbo smooth on with 2 iterations and isolate display. Okay, so we'll do the exact same thing down here at the bottom. Grab that one, let's hit Z there to center it. And let's go back into the left view. Actually, let's do it in the front view. Let's convert it to editable poly first. And we'll go down to quick slice and just cut our support edges in. Okay, so one across the top there. And one down the bottom side. Okay. Okay, so now I'll just add a couple edge loops on top. Let's actually hit Alt Q here. Okay, so grab an edge there on the bottom and as well as one on the top, do a ring and a connect. And we'll do 2 segments. And we'll just pinch those out as we did before, around 40 or so, and okay. And then we can get rid of that loop and this one here. So loop those and control backspace. And then back into polygon, check on by angle, grab the inside and delete it. And then just toss the turbo smooth off 2 iterations. Okay, so that looks nice and smooth. Let's get out of isolation mode. And I'll pretty much take care of the elbows on the pipe. One thing we should do is probably extend this one a little bit so it's tucked in on the inside of these pieces so we have no gaps. Alright, so back in the left view, let's grab the top piece of the pipe here. Okay, we could just pull the verts in here by grabbing the end and just moving them down, but I don't want to affect the angle here, so what I'm going to do is go into border, grab the border there at the end, and I'm just going to shift drag it in a bit here. Okay, it doesn't have to be much, just enough so it's tucked in. Okay, we'll try to match the angle there, and then we'll just go in a little bit closer, grab an edge there, do a loop, and we'll just control backspace that out. Okay, now just make sure that's straight. On these ones here, because there's straight up and down, we can just pull the verts up a little bit. Okay, and don't go too high, else it'll be poking out the outside there. Okay, so like that. Same thing here in the front view. Grab those verts at the bottom, and we'll just pull them straight down. And for these ones here, I'm going to do the same thing. Just going to shift drag this border in a bit. Try to match up the angle. And then we'll just grab an edge in the center there, do a loop, and control backspace it. And I don't think I selected it there. Okay, so just loop that and control backspace it out. Okay, and we'll come up here at the top, and we're going to need to add some support here as well, so let's maybe ring this edge on the top, do a connect, and this time we'll need 2 segments. Let's pinch those up, and want the end to be pretty sharp, so let's take it up quite a bit. Let's do about 75 or so, and okay. And to get one on the inside as well as the outside here, I'm just going to quick slice it in the left view. Okay, so just zoom in on the top of the pipe there, back down to quick slice, and we'll just cut one right across. And just for good measure here, I'm going to add a couple of extra loops just around these long polygons here. Alright, so let's do a connect there. Let's just do 2 segments, no pinch, no slide. And I think that should be fine. Okay, so we'll also turbo smooth this pipe with 2 iterations, and we'll see how that looks. Okay, I think that's fine. And we have one more piece of the pipe here, and that's a cylinder piece that goes inside this part with the holes. Okay, so we'll do that in the top view. Let's actually maybe just hide this pipe. Hide selected on that. We'll also hide the 2 elbow pieces. Okay, we'll just do this in the top view. So let's go back to crate panel, grab another cylinder. We'll draw that out from the center here. Maybe something like that. Give it a little bit of height here. And let's also make sure that's centered. So I'm just going to go up to the align tool here, and we'll click on the other piece, check off all 3 axes, and hit OK. Okay, so let's drag this down to the bottom. Okay, we'll just intersect it with the bottom here. I really don't need to have these height segments, so let's take those off as well by right-clicking the height spinner. And we don't want to need to really turbo smooth this piece. Let's maybe just take the sides up to like 60, and that should smooth it out enough. Okay, so let's convert to editable poly. Go into vertex, grab the top verts there, and we'll just stretch this up to the height we need. Okay, and slightly intersect it with the top there. And because the top's capped with this piece here, we can delete the top and bottom polygons. Okay, so just drag right through the side polygons, hit Control I, and delete the 2 caps. Okay, let's put our shader on that one. And I'm also going to put a smooth modifier on for good measure here. So grab a smooth, let's hit auto smooth. Okay, and let's just see what it looks like with the turbo smooth back on here. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Let's just take those iterations off so it's a little bit faster in the viewports. And we'll just unhide all here. Okay, another thing we want to make sure is that we actually have the pipe here centered to the cylinder part, and you can see it's a little bit off to the left side there. Alright, so let's maybe just grab the pipe, grab the elbow pieces there, the bottom one, and that cylinder we just put inside the other can there. Actually, we can deselect that one, we don't need to move that. Okay, so just the two elbows and the pipe, and we'll just kind of eyeball this in the top view. Alright, so I'm just going to move it all over at once, and we'll line up the center edge here on the pipe with the center edge on the cylinder. Okay, like that. Okay, also make sure that it's not clipping any of this piece around the top here, and you can see it's slightly intersecting right there. So it's going to control click the inner cylinder as well as this one, and we'll just move it very slightly to the front, okay, until it clears. Okay, that should be good.